I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we farm Gregtech ores, well, sustainably. Hopefully you guys are ready. Now, last episode, as we stepped into more Gregtech, we ended up getting ourselves the chemical sort of fluid crafting started. Today, we get into ore processing, but first, we need ores in the first place. So in reality, today we really just need to focus on how we're going to obtain Gregtech ores. And I think I have a solution to this problem. Now, solution, you say? Ah, yes. How we can actually obtain a ton of these Gregtech ores. We should be able to mine for them. Well, actually, we're not going to do the mining. Instead, we're going to use a genie to mine for us. So back to occultism, it is. But don't click off just yet. Even though you just heard occultism, we are going to be actually doing some pretty interesting things to maintain this actual miner setup. And that's going to include how we're actually going to take our genie or miner itself and repair it, because it does take durability. If I go ahead and show you inside of occultism, we have these miners right here, and they're all kinds of different tiers. They go all the way up to a master version. And like, for example, the master version can mine more ores. There's a lot of different things it can mine, but I'm going to see if we can get away with just the base one. I don't know if it's going to be any faster or slower after we set up the crazy setup that we're going to do today with this. Now, like I had said, these things do have durability. So if we take a look at this, you see it's 1,000 durability, but these can receive mending. Keep in mind, which I know you're probably thinking this, can't you Eternal Stella this? And no. You cannot Eternal Stella for some reason, specifically these ore miners, and probably for good reason, but they cannot be Eternal Stella. You cannot make them infinite, but we are going to make them infinite because they can receive mending. And there's a little bit of logistic stuff we can actually do to repair these. And we're going to be using Reliquary for that. It's going to be pretty interesting. All right. Now for the cool thing. We've got to get all of this set up from occultism. Now, I have done the rituals in the past. We have everything basically ready to go for making all of the rituals that we could ever want for occultism. So that's already out of the way. If you want to check out those episodes, check out the All the Mods 9 Occultism, ChosenArchitect. You can do a nice Google search if you haven't checked that out already. And all of that and how to progress through that mod has already been covered in those episodes. So definitely check that out. But today, we're just going to be building an area out for multiple rituals. This is where I originally had placed my rituals, and I kind of placed them in temporarily and then move them. Today, I want to set up a vertical solution to this problem. Space is always kind of an issue with this mod, and it's because these rituals can get very large, like up to 15 by 15 in size. Today, I'm going to solve that problem by creating a hole with elevators that allow me to go down to each tier and to be able to visually see which ritual we have created from the occultism mod. So to make this, I'm going to show you a very powerful tool. That is the Wand of Symmetry. This thing you might gloss over in the create mod, but it is probably one of the most powerful building tools that you can have in your arsenal. And it's made with just a single precision mechanism inside of a mechanical crafter. It's honestly very, very easy to make. And I've already showed how to make mechanical or precision mechanisms in the past couple of episodes. So definitely worth checking those out as well. Now, inside of this, we can configure this to mirror once. And when you right click, you'll see that it is now mirrored left to right, or in this case, it's mirrored from west to east. So when I place a block on the east side, it will then place that block exactly mirrored from its location to the other side. And if you want to change that direction, we just kind of rotate right here. And so I can mirror on this side too, and it will just continue to go. And also notice it breaks as well. So you can use it to break the blocks, but there's other settings. We can go in here and we can set it to rectangular. This is basically like building in like a quarter. Like if you're building a build, you can build out a quarter of the build and it will build all of the other sides, the 3/4 for you. And then there's another mode that is even smaller that you can do, and that is set it to the octagonal. And this will let you basically build 1/8 of a build. So if I place a block here, this is essentially going to be placing all of the other blocks in those 1/8 segments. It's pretty darn powerful. And not only that, we can place and break as well. Now, when it does break, it will only break the exact block that is on that other side. So don't expect to go like a mining for other things with this block. But if you don't want to have that going on, you can remove it out of your inventory and say you're back to placing normally. But if you put it back in your inventory, back to doing the whole thing again. That's just something to note, that you can do this. And then if you want to remove it, you just right click in the air. So that's the wand of symmetry basically covered. And I'm going to be using it to clear out this whole area here. And I need to go 7 blocks out to kind of cover this. Well, actually more than 7, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to go 8 out here. And then I'm going to design this sort of setup here, like a giant circle in the middle. And just look how powerful this is to clear out this whole area. I'm only doing 1/8 of the work that it would take. I mean, I'm just saving. It's just cutting my time in 1/8. It's so good. Also, the range on this is quite big. So if I'm breaking all of this dirt, I can continue to go all the way down and build my walls up and everything. I mean, it's just, it's beautiful. That's all I can say about this. But I'm going to get a hole dug down so I can start to prep up all of the occultism rituals. So now I might be an absolute dork. I got this started to build and I was like thinking in my head, I was like, do I have to have a layer for each one of these individual sort of rituals? And no. As a matter of fact, I was like, why does the book show this sort of being in a line here? I was like, will these fit into each other? And oh my gosh, they do. They do fit into each other. So the ones on this line will fit. And I did a test. I did a test craft to see if it would start the ritual on the low end of the first ritual here, which was using the Vara's circle. And then I also just tried to use the Figmas to try and craft a top tier crusher. And it works. It is starting the ritual. This means that it is successful. And this is the combination that you see right here. This is the combination of all of the rituals that are listed in this first section here in our book for occultism. So yes, you can put them all together and they will all work, meaning that I should be able to potentially either have all of these in one. I don't know if this line will fit into this as well, but it might actually. Like this might be the highest end crafter that can literally craft everything. I'm pretty sure these are all the same. Like this one looks like it just fills in the other slots, but these are all using like the same items. Like if I go to put this in here, for example, and I line this up, it's completed. So does that mean that this is the only ritual that I need? I think it is. They're all the same. I never even noticed that. You know, I feel kind of ridiculous that I didn't actually know this. And I've been using this mod for a few years now. Oh man, all of the space I could have saved. All right, so yes, I ended up using some polished blackstone and some stripped mineral logs here from Integrated Dynamics to get this nice blue effect. And it does look pretty good, but I expected to have more of this around. So I have a couple more rooms down here that are exactly the same that we're probably going to use for something else now. But I should be able to now craft these recipes inside of the little altars here. So I should be able to put the sacrificial bowls, and we should be able to start crafting up the thing that is going to ultimately get our ores for us. Now, something to note, I did do a little bit more digging, and does turn out that the master miner does mine up more of the Gregtech ores, and all of the Gregtech ores, even the highest tier Gregtech ores that we are going to need. So we do need to get to a master miner, because I didn't know if there was a difference in the ores that it gathered. But yes, there are higher tier Gregtech ores that you can only get from the master miner that we need to get going, or at least to have it automated. And so the progression kind of starts. So we have our basic miner foliate that we are going to need, and the best way to sort of pull these things in is to have our refined storage open, look at the recipe, pull the stuff in, and then I could just simply click here to request it. I do have to make this book, so let's just go ahead and get one for right now, and then we can always go up from there. But just like this, there is the 4 items we're going to need to put onto the platform. And you could automate this, I believe. Like I could automate recipes because this is all in one location. I could potentially just auto-craft some of this stuff. However, I don't think I'd be able to activate the ritual bowl I don't know if that's something that we have the ability to do. But it's not a huge deal for right now. This is all manual, but if we do need to make more of these down the road, if the first tier that we make doesn't produce enough, we'll see about that then. So let's go ahead and get this ready to go. I do need that book. So this does need that special book that just combines our Dictionary of Spirits, which we can now put away because we don't really need it. And then I'm going to make my first miner. Doesn't matter where you put this stuff. And boop. And look, it works. So yeah, this is where the time in the bottle, I always use that here because it makes it so much faster. It's just a time sink, but look, it is working. And that should produce the item. And there we go. We now have a miner foliate. And then the next one is going to get a spirit attuned crystal. Looks like some gold ore, another pick, and then of course the prior, which is something that I wasn't used to. So we have to have the prior. And then this one is going to start. And this is going to make that ore lamp. And yes, I'm going to speed this up as well. Yes, all of this is just going to get sped up. It's just so slow crafting. It is literally just a time sink for this. Now, the next tier requires that Afrit essence, which I should probably, if we're going to make more of this, I do have a little bit of it still, but I think I should eventually summon this and probably Drigme it, and then let the Drigme farm some of this Afrit essence off of it, simply because it's kind of a pain to constantly resummon this boss over and over again to get enough of this. But for right now, we do have plenty of it. We should have all of these ingredients as well. So we just need to make that book, and then we need to turn it into this. And then with refined storage yet again, I love this feature. Just send the ingredients into our inventory. And there we go. I just gathered the next tier. Oh, and this is so nice that I'm able to do this. Who knew that this one ritual right here, the Figma's ritual, was basically everything all combined into one? I probably missed some reading somewhere. It probably honestly says it's somewhere. All right, now I've got the deep ore miner Afrit. Now we need to go to the master miner Myriad. So that one is a little bit more expensive. Does require some nether stars, some dragon's breath, and also some totems of the dying and a netherite pick. So yes, it does require a bit more resources, but this can be so worth it. So this right here should be ready to go to make the maxed out miner. There we go. Perfect. Oh, it's just so good that all this fits together. And we'll get that all prepped. And then we just have to make one more thing for all of this to work. And that is the dimensional mine shaft. And then we get to figure out how we're going to prevent this from taking durability damage. Well, repairing it. It's going to take durability damage. So boop. There we go. And now we're making the mine shaft. That's simple. Also went ahead and decorated a little bit more. Added some more of those beautiful purple flames that don't actually catch logs on fire. I really like. All right, this one is very slow. Okay, so accelerate that and boop. Perfect. I now have everything needed to technically start mining, and that's all you really need. This just needs the dimensional mine shaft itself and this to be placed in it. And as you can see right here, this is going to start consuming this. But I think first I might want to build out some filters with this fully repaired and also get some mending on this. But this will start generating ores, and you can output the items on the bottom, and then the top you can insert and I believe pull this this miner out of here. We're gonna play around with that. So now after giving this some mending, I also seen that it can take higher levels of unbreaking, which is kind of cool. We can then put this inside of the dimensional mine shaft, but I don't think the unbreaking is going to be super necessary, as there's going to be an interesting way for us to repair this. So let's go ahead and get this placed in. I've already got some things sort of I'm playing around with. But notice this is going to be running. This is on the master tier. And then it's going to, when it completes an operation, put the ore inside of this inventory. We definitely want to send those ores back to our refined storage system to be played with and so on and so forth, right? But it hasn't taken any durability just yet, but it just did. Now we have taken durability. And notice that because it's taken durability, we should be able to put it in something that can repair mending items, and we should be able to repair it back to full health. So we'll have to come up with a setup to go, okay, once this has lowered its durability, we definitely need to pull it out of the system once it hit a certain durability, which we can do that with modular routers. And then I wanted to send it into this pedestal. Let's talk about this for a second. So if we use a hero's medallion and we activate it and we put it inside of a pedestal that then is activated, this will look for other pedestals just like this with items on them that can be repaired, and it will repair them with the experience. So this right here now has some durability loss. And if I put it onto this pedestal, it will then automatically be repaired from the experience that was stored in there. And it's now back to full health. And this can be auto inserted into and pulled out of using modular routers. So you see what I'm doing here. We're going to create a loop. So this can then go back in here, and then we have all of our ores and such that are going to be pulled out and all that fun stuff. And so we're just going to create a loop. But to send experience to this is a whole other thing in itself. We need access to an experience crystal, for example. Now, we should be able to take, for example, a ton of experience that I have here and store it into this. That's a ton of levels. It's probably more than we'll ever have to worry about. And this especially for refilling and repairing tools. So if I go and I grab a pipe, for example, I can use for like a regular mechanical pipe. And I should be able to just send liquid experience right out of this into this pylon. And you'll see that this should start going up, in which it is. You can see that experience level increasing, and this will just hold all of that experience that I just put inside of this experience crystal. Very cool. And so now I just got to set up the logistics. The hard part is figuring out and getting this thing right here to actually lower its durability. But I think that's where the next part is going to come in, because I'm going to be tick accelerating this. Now bear with me here. Things are about to get a little bit weird because I'm actually going to entangle this block right here, the miner itself. And then by entangling it using the entangled mod, I can go ahead and shift right click to select it. I should be able to place it right here, place this entangled block, and actually link that into now this block, meaning that I can tick accelerate this from all of the sides while also still being able to access this with my refined storage with, for example, an importer from the bottom. This is essentially extending the sides. Now I haven't tested this, and I would actually like to. I haven't tested if you can entangle or tick accelerate the entangled block to accelerate the block it's linked to. I have not tested that, but we're going to try that out probably first. That would be absolutely broken though, I would say. Okay, so let's test out this madness. I've brought over my cable over to this, and let's see if we can accelerate this. So let's take a look at the speed this is going right now. I'd say that's an okay speed, but does this accelerate it? Of course, I placed it wrong. Does this accelerate it? Okay. Oh, it does. Okay. I'm a little taken back by this. The fact that this does allow you to accelerate this block like this has intrigued me a little bit. So let's go ahead and add more, of course, to this. Let's make it even more maddening. And then let's check this. That does seem like it is accelerating, right? I don't know. It's a little hard for me to tell. If I remove all of these, the initial did feel like it was accelerating. It definitely felt like it. Let's actually hook this now in to the main system, into this block itself. And let's actually see what this is going to do. So if I run this over here, we'll see. Okay, no. So, whew, I was a little taken back because I thought it was tick accelerating, but it was not. This is how fast it actually looks when it's just one of them on there. Whew, for a second, I was like, that would be wild. I mean, it's already still wild that just this one block, we can accelerate from all of the sides and then use this to access it still without being limited by the side outputs. But, whew, this is going to be a fast way of generating these ores. So now with just all of these faces right here without the bottom being accelerated, you can see how fast this is actually generating the ores now. That is pretty darn quick. And I could make it even faster by adding another one to the bottom if I wanted to make this a little bit more ugly, because there's not a great way to facade these cables in any good way. But yes, if I did place this down here, I can then run a cable through, but I'd have to kind of jankily move my refined storage cable. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's give ourselves a little bit more space here. And yeah, I mean, making this go as fast as possible would be a good idea, especially because we are going to need all of these ores. All right, let's hook that down and that down into here. And there we go. And now this will be how fast it can go at maximum. So it's already faster than the importer can work without a speed upgrade. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, and this is going to be generating all of our Gregtech ores. So just something to note, this is now generating all of our Gregtech ores. But here's a problem that I've got to figure out. I've got to figure out if we can actually pull this out of the inventory here and pull it out with modular routers, because that I do not know if we have the ability to do. So let's go ahead and try that out. I just need to use a puller MK2, and I'm going to link it to the top of this block if I can get in here to do that. So it is linked to the top of the block. And if I just put this in by default, it should just go ahead and pull out whatever's in there without a filter. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Okay, and then we should just need a Cinder MK2 or Mark II. And if we just do a regular Cinder over here, for example, we should just link that to the top as well. And if we're going to interact with the top, there we go. And let's see if this sends it back. And it does, because it ended up going back into the inventory and then got pulled back over here. So if I move this, we will see that it will send it back into the system. There it goes. It's now back inside and is working again. So from the top, you can extract and insert that myriad. That's pretty cool. Now, I think the part that's going to be a little bit tedious, sorry, I'm down here, is going to be waiting for it to drain enough durability to determine when we actually want to pull it out. Because I don't want this to break. It's going to be a pain to remake another one. So if I can just constantly repair it, I would prefer to do that. And so by doing this, I would have to set that new puller card to be a whitelist, and we would whitelist specifically that durability, and then we would make sure that it states exactly the thing that we need, which we would match the MBT data that is on it, or match the item damage. I don't think the MBT is as important as matching item damage. Very specific inside of this card. Basically the same way we're automating our oxygen can. And even though this is working very fast, and you may be like, well, what happens if it like misses a tick and it goes through a bunch of durability? Well, if we have these running with max speed upgrades, that should not be a problem to us. This should be very, very fast on the send and also on this for its checks. That way it never misses a beat. Now, I think right now would be a good time to test. This is at 1470. So let's go ahead and make sure this is on a whitelist. 1470 is where this is looking for this to pull it out. So if I was to insert this in right now, it should immediately pull it out. Immediately. You see it pulls it out exactly because that's the one it needs to be pulling out. So we also want a Cinder. And so we should be able to use another Cinder to send it onto here to be repaired. So this one actually doesn't need any specific thing other than the fact that it's going to be, we're going to select the top of this, and it's going to send now from the inventory. Its next operation will then be to send this to that pedestal. It's there. This is now receiving the mending. And before we want to pull this off, which we're going to need another puller card, MK2, we're going to want to make sure this is also in whitelist on the puller. And then let's go ahead and take this off of here for right now. And this needs to be fully repaired. And now when we put this in here, it's only going to pull it out of this once it now is at max durability. So just start our loop. We should be able to then put that as the first operation in the module set, going from left to right. And then if I put this on here, like that, it should hopefully pull this off. That's hopefully the goal. Let's make sure our puller module is set up correctly. I don't think I selected the location it's pulling from. So there we go. So we just need to make sure that's there. That should pull there, and then that should have automatically sent it back. And look at the durability. The durability is full. It's now going back down again, and it is constantly running still. We can't see the items propagating in here because it's happening so fast on the extract, but this is it. That is an insanely fast way, and this is just one of them because you could do this for multiple. This is an insanely fast way of automating the Gregtech ores. Now I've decided to scale things up a little bit, and I've made 3 more of them, and I have them in here, but I do want to show you how I am going to basically send the items or route the items around for this particular setup. So I'm going to be using a distribution module or distributor module, and inside of the configuration for this, I need to already have this set, and I'm hoping that I can just use this one for all of these. And that way I don't have to make sure the names matter. I think this should be fine so long as we're ignoring MBT, but worrying about the item damage. So this is going to apply the item damage here, and then we're going to transfer into the router. And so we should be able to just select the place that this is going to be pulling from, because if you have it set to go to router, we should be able to get away with just 2 of them. So I'm going to select the top of this one, and that way it will check all of these. Instead of just having 8 individual routers, we should be able to have all of these set to up to 8 different ones. So this will make it nice and compact. So if I put this in here, inside the slot, and I have this should now pull or be looking for items from all of these inventories. So as soon as I put this in here, this master upgrade, or this should automatically pull it in. So let's try. And it did pull, and it did seem like it was fast enough, but just barely. It almost took 1 more durability, but thankfully it went. So we will still have to see and monitor this. I'll definitely monitor after I get it all up and running, but it did pull it in here. But then we need another distribution module. This one doesn't need any filter, but we need to say transfer out of router round robin, and then we'll select all of these pedestals. So the way it will round robinly distribute the 4 different ones. And I have 4 just in case all 4 happen to go on at once. This should be able to transfer them all at once. And this will hopefully, repair them all within the range of the middle pedestal here. And then when we're done, we'll just send them back, basically doing the exact opposite, except for checking if it is a fully ready to go one. Perfect. Once I put that in, it now sent to this pedestal here, which is repairing the item. It takes a minute to repair. It takes a little bit of time, but it will repair this. Oh, if I was to actually enable it. There we go. So now this is repairing. And it should repair on all of the pedestals that are nearby. There it is. I just seen the durability go up. It's very tiny, but it is repairing, and now it's fully repaired. And so, yes, this is where I will use the other distribution. I will do 2 more, and then we'll just use those over here as well. So we'll take both of these. One will be to pull into router, just like that. And then we'll have this one transferring out round robin. This is going to select from here to pull into this router. And then we just need to set that in here. So that should pull it, I believe. Yes. And if we put speed upgrades, which we're definitely going to need speed upgrades in this to make sure that it is ticking as fast as it can, so we don't end up missing a beat. Okay, so as soon as we have that, then we just need to also reselect these and just tell it where to send the items to. And so it should just, throw all of these items around, which is exactly what I want. So there we go. And then that should have just placed it in one of these, and perfect. It is now building up. Nice. So now to take my mending and unbreaking jars or miners, myriad miners, and put them in here. And we are now generating in all 4. So we've basically upgraded and now is going 4 times faster. I love that. It is fantastic. So now that we have all of this working, it should just auto be working, but we do need to set up all of our entangled blocks for now for this and make sure we're importing from all of these into our refined storage system. So perfect. I have them all entangled now, ready to go. These are now all pulling the stuff out. I noticed this shows that it has a myriad miner connected to it. This one also shows it has one in it. This one shows it doesn't have one in it. This shows it doesn't have one in it. That's weird, even though all of them technically do have them in there. It's weird that it only shows that that's the one item. But that was just some weird quirk thing that I did notice. But it does appear that everything is working as intended, and hopefully I will be able to tell whenever this does start to get to that 140, hopefully, or I think it was 1,470. Whenever it drops down to that, it should pull this just like everything else. It shouldn't matter what the item's name is or its enchantments or anything like that. It should just automatically pull it out because of the durability. and the item type, and should just sort it in here. And then just when it's done, it just flop it back into one of these other ones. This should be a fairly sustainable Gregtech ore processor. So we do at Gregtech, we do ore, we will see ores are propagating here. They are filling up. It's just like we would want. Oh, that is fantastic. It's still not insanely fast, but I think just over time, there's going to be more ores than we'll ever probably need in this mod. Okay, something I did notice, for some reason, it's not pulling even though they've dropped below that amount. So notice it has dropped below that amount, I believe right here. So this one did not drop down. And even though it should have, and I feel like it might have happened so fast that it missed it. So that's where I feel like I could also just set up 2 separate setups here where it makes sure it always detects it. This just might not be fast enough. Perfect. So after getting this all set up, it does work. So just off of the one filter. So yes, it's probably recommended, I think in this case, to have it automatically pull with 1 modular router per dimensional mineshaft, just to make sure it's fast enough to detect it instantly when that durability does reach that amount. And with that, I now have this successfully now automated, and I have watched it, and it is working now with all of these individual routers working to make sure this never runs out. The last thing I can do is, with the help of some camouflage upgrades, I can shift right click to select the block I want it to be. When I put it in there, it just simply hides it away, and we never have to see these modular router blocks again. So now with all of those ores being generated, oh man, are we ready to fully dive into the ore processing that is from Gregtech. And this is going to be a fundamental part of this whole progression line from what it looks like inside of the quest book. So I'm looking forward to it. And take a look at this. Oh man, if we take a look at all of the ore we're generating now, there's a ton of it. All of that beautiful ore just passively coming in. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Also, comment down below, is there another way that you would have maybe gone about enchanting or healing your mending items? Let me know down in the comments below. I bet there's all kinds of creative ways outside of just what I did today. So I would love to hear from you. And guys, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Chunkamunka. I love that name. Thank you so much, by the way, for your amazing support and supporting me over on Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. I look forward to the next episode, and I hope you guys do too. So I will see you there. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.